Welcome to Digital Asset News. To get top stories in cryptocurrency and digital assets and breaking down to bite-sized pieces. Today, that's been interesting stuff. First up, professional investor and CNBC contributor Jon NAJARIAN talks about Bitcoin. This is another story about how investors or institutional investors are right around the corner, yet we see not much of a price action. So what's going on? Also, Coinbase reportedly lands contract to provide blockchain analytics to the U.S. Secret Service, and I actually posted this in the community section. So thanks for everybody who responded to help me streamline my thought process on this, and we're going to dig deep into this article. And lastly, Charles Hoskinson's Cardano giveaway is a big fat scam. And if you've been following the channel for any length of time, you know we're all about scams of the day. So I'm going to give an open letter to Charles to show him how we can all defeat this if he just helps us out. And that will lead to the scam of the day, which we'll go over at the very end of the video. But let's take a look at what's going on with the market. So today, it is July 12th. It is roughly high noon Texas time, and it looks like Bitcoin's doing not too much. It's at a whopping 0.0% change over the last 24 hours, and for 7 days, 0.9%. So pretty stable for what people might consider an unstable currency. But that's the truth. Ethereum, look at 238, so not too much action there. Actually, nothing's really going on, except for Bitcoin SV. For some reasons, up 1.7%. I have no idea why. Binance Coin, 3.6%. Chainlink, up 10.9%. I'd like to see that. And I think $6.79 is the all-time high for a Chainlink. So if you invested in Chainlink, congratulations, you're doing great. Anything else fantastic? Not too much. Even the darling VeChain down 1.8%. However, it is up 42% over the last 7 days. So congratulations all the VeChain holders. Looks like things are going in the right direction. Just for today, a little bit down, but hey, can't go up forever. All right, let's break into today's top story. So first up, investor contributor Jon NAJARIAN talks about Bitcoin. That's a good name, Jon NAJARIAN. So according to his CNBC bio, if you don't know who NAJARIAN is, he was a linebacker for the Chicago Bears. Nice little tidbit of information, I suppose, which doesn't really do much for the financial sector. But he actually became a professional options trader. He's a member of the CBOE, New York Stock Exchange, CME, and CBOT. He ended up working for 25 years as a floor trader. So it's safe to say he has his foot in the water and probably the pulse on what is going on in the financial sector. In 2005, together with his brother Pete, he founded Option Monster, an option news and education firm, and Trade Monster, an online brokerage firm. In 2016, Trade Monster was sold to E-Trade for $750 million. So NAJARIAN, to me, seems like he's pretty good around the whole financial area and finances. So we're going to give him a pass and see what he's here to talk about. Also, he's a co-founder of NAJARIAN Advisors and NAJARIAN Family Office, which advises or trades for institutional investors and provides money management for wealthy investors. And when I saw this, we're going to get into the article, but it was interesting to note that this gentleman is pretty much a pro when it comes to different aspects of trading and options and all those things. So when he talks about some mistakes he makes, it's actually refreshing because it goes to show you that it doesn't matter how big of a fish you are and how big the pond is, you can still screw up. And that's what I like to see, actually. So anyhow, moving forward, in an interview with Anthony Pompliano, aka Pomp, for episode 329, NAJARIAN talked about Wall Street, crypto, and Bitcoin in general. And here's what he said. It was pretty interesting. He says, on a monthly basis, I probably have between 5 and 10% of, his money in digital assets. And almost all of it's in Bitcoin. Little Ethereum, mostly Bitcoin. I got a little Litecoin, a little Stellar. Really, I'm about Bitcoin. Great. Congratulations for him. He states, I first got involved at about $300. I realized I didn't know what the hell was going on. I didn't get involved again until it was closer to 1,700. So I'm not sure what he's talking about here as far as getting involved. Maybe he bought a little bit and then sold it real quick. I'm not for sure, but looks like he probably went in, pretty hard or harder at the $1,700 mark. He says, so I missed an awful lot of that. I didn't sell, and this is the important part. I didn't sell when it got over $18,000 or $19,000. I didn't liquidate. I would have looked like a genius if I did. So I want everybody to remember that. If you're beating yourself up like I did when the top hit, it was funny. 2017, when the top of the market happened, and it ran up to like 18.9, 19.9, and Bitcoin almost hit at $20,000. And then it just kind of slowly came off. And I talk about this in my exit strategy. You have to understand the mentality. You get into it and you think to yourself, okay, there's no way this is going to go back down because everybody's going to realize how great of an asset this is. And they're just going to keep foaming in forever. And it's going to be fine. And all of a sudden, it just kind of topples down. And even me, who was a rookie investor, I had to keep these bags forever. I'm still on the negative for some of these different options that I had. But the NAJARIAN here is a pro. I mean, even up here, which I forgot to talk about, he founded Market Rebellion, which has the aim of educating the individual investor, and that was in 2016. So, and he said he didn't get out at the top. So, when all these people around you in YouTube or on Twitter or any social media platform that you go to, they're like, yeah, I sold at the top and I did this and I did that. Like, did you really? Because I got to tell you, I mean, as long as I've been in this space, it seems like everybody's a genius and everybody's a guru and everybody knows exactly what's going on and when to sell. And it's amazing when it happens after the fact. You got to remember, like when I take a look at all these articles, I swear to God, half of them are like people saying, you got to get out now. And the other half are like, you got to go in heavy. And there's all these analysts and everybody knows what's going on. But then like weeks later, you'll have some person I've never heard of, or even somebody who's famous, or well known, will say, "Oh yeah, I knew it the whole time." I'm like, "Did you really?" So, I mean, I just look at this and I'm like, "Hey, thank God, someone just admits it's like, hey, I screwed up. I held these bags too long," and I think that's what's going on. So, if you haven't watched my exit strategy, it kind of takes out that different aspect of like the FOMO and everything else. Because here's the thing, you're going to screw up. You're going to make mistakes just like I did. I'm still going to make mistakes, but we can minimize the mistakes that we make by having a plan of action in place now rather than everything goes a little bit crazy. So I'll link this at the very end of the video. Please watch that one. It'll probably help you out a lot. Anyhow, so moving on, NAJARIAN says that Wall Street players are secretly increasing their Bitcoin holdings. He says, I think a lot of them will want to keep it quiet as they're getting in because they'll run it. I don't mean they'll run in terms of how Bitcoin operates. I mean they'll push the price too far too fast. Those same guys are sitting there thinking, I really like this play in Bitcoin, but I'm not going to say a lot about it until I've got enough of this stuff, because we both know that blocks of it stand out, and so they've got to stay under the radar with these accumulations. NAJARIAN is confident about the long-term future of Bitcoin. He says it hasn't hurt the dollar yet, but eventually what we're going to do is it's going to hurt the dollar and it's going to hurt my kids moving forward. And I think he's talking about here is like with the quantitative easing and the Fed just printing money willy-nilly, doesn't really matter. What's happening is that we are creating debt for the future generation, because you can't just print money out of thin air and just expect debt to not become accumulating. So that's what's happening. We're accumulating a massive amount of debt with all this money being printed, and the only way we can pay it off is in the future. And I'm sorry to say, it's not going to be me. It's going to be my kids or my grandkids, and that's the ones who are going to pay the debt. That's how I think of it too. Anyhow, it says, and lastly to finish up, it says it's going to hurt for years out in the future, all this printing of initial capital. And that's what I love about digital assets like Bitcoin. So first of all, let me just say this. I don't know if you're like me, but I'm tired of hearing about all these guys, all these different institutional investors who are coming in hard and heavy, but they're just accumulating the background in secret, and they're just, like this mystery shadow organization. And, when the time hits, then all of a sudden, boom, Bitcoin's going to go through the roof. I got to tell you, I've been hearing that for years. And it's kind of frustrating right now. Even I get frustrated because I know where Bitcoin is going. I know where digital assets are going. I know where Ethereum is going to head to. I think Cardano is going to do well. I think Chainlink. I think Tezos. I think even VeChain. I mean, not even VeChain. I think VeChain is going to do well. I think a lot of things are going to do very well. But when I hear about these stories like, oh, these guys are mysteries, they're doing in the background, I'm like, really? Is that happening? I mean, we see it, but I mean, is it like mass accumulation like what they're talking about? And of course, these institutions, they can buy OTC over the counter, so where it doesn't screw up all the prices, and they can slowly accumulate. But how long is it going to last? How long are they going to accumulate for like 20 years? Some kind of slow hand. Then all of a sudden they're going to flip the switch. It's just not how it is. I mean, I think they are accumulating, but I don't know exactly how much it is and how much this is all just smoke and mirrors. So not for sure. Let me know what you think in the comments section. But I will say this. I believe there is a reason why some of these guys are getting in. I think there's only so many people who can really see into the future and go, okay, I got it. This is why this is fantastic. And even like, people like Robert Kiyosaki, which we featured a couple days ago, the reason why he's so big into it, and it took him a long time, when he heard about the halving, he's like, oh, that's what it is. Okay, so it's not just about, quantitative easing and printing forever. With Bitcoin, there's a quantitative hardening, and I like that aspect. I think with that, plus with what's going to happen with the central bank digital coins, with every country coming out, China's leading the pack. They are way ahead of everybody right now. But once they really get it into effect, I know it's being trialed right now over there. It's going to happen. It's just going to happen. You're going to see, Europe. You're going to see Australia. You're going to see parts of the Middle East, and then finally North America. You're going to see Canada. You're going to see America. You're going to see Mexico. All these different places are going to have a central bank digital coin. And what it's going to come down to is the economic policy that is the strongest. So the problem with America right now, I can tell you, is we print like crazy, and we are in serious debt. So that's an issue. And then throughout the rest of the world, they all are controlled by central banks. So the monetary policy kind of sucks. The one that doesn't suck is Bitcoin, because it's just a computer code. I mean, not just a computer code, it's a great computer code, and it works out pretty well. And then there is a diminishing supply over time. So as time goes on, I think the actual economic policy with Bitcoin is going to win out. And I think that's what the people that can actually see into the future, like the Paul Tudor Jones, like the Anthony Pompliano, and all the different people that are well known, and they can actually see what's going to happen, like the Drapers. They're like, oh, okay, we get it. Chamath's another example. They can see what's going to happen, they know what's going to go, and they invest accordingly. So I think that's what's going to happen. Now, as time goes on, I don't think Bitcoin is the only one. I think there's a lot of different digital assets that do different things, and Bitcoin can't do it all. I'm just going to tell you that seems ridiculous to me. So let me know what you think in the comments section. Let's move on to our next story. Next up, Coinbase reportedly lands contract to provide blockchain analytics to the U.S. Secret Service. Fantastic. So what's happening here is there was looks like a document that was uncovered by the block, and this is the deal with the United States Secret Service that will run through 2024. And it looks like action obligation $49,000. Looks like it's not even for that much. It's like I know it says $49,000 here, but I think it's for $249,000 over 4 years or something like that. At first, when I saw this, I'm like, oh, great, another type of government agency that's getting in bed with Coinbase. And I was pretty negative about it. But I actually posted this, and there were some good comments in there. But first, let's take a look at the article. So, crypto entrepreneur Mike Duda said this: it's one thing to respond to government subpoenas. It's another thing to actively market blockchain surveillance technology to the government. This feels very icky. And that's kind of how I thought, too. I'm like, well, if Coinbase is going to go to the IRS, they're going to go to the DEA, now they're going to go to the Secret Service, where does it all stop? So we'll get into that in a second. But Coinbase they state that this contract will not lead to a breach of privacy for Coinbase users. When I first read that, I'm like, okay, that's BS, because Facebook told us the same thing. Remember when you first got into Facebook, they're like, we'll never sell your data. You're safe with us. There's no problems. And all of a sudden, where's all my data? What happened to, Cambridge Analytics? They have all this information on me. And then you go into Facebook and you check on one different thing, and you got ads up the wazoo for years. So if you think, Facebook wouldn't do that, of course they do. And then Coinbase, I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, well, maybe this is the deal, same deal. Anyhow, they go on to state that they ensure that the information offered in Coinbase Analytics has always been kept completely separate from Coinbase internal data. They go on to state this: Coinbase Analytics data is fully sourced from online, publicly available data, and that does not include any personally identifiable information for anyone, regardless of whether or not they use Coinbase. Coinbase Analytics is a blockchain analytics product that we use internally for compliance and global investigations. It's an important tool to meet our regulatory requirements and protect our customers' funds. We developed Coinbase Analytics with technology from the Neutrino acquisition. So let's take a look at what everybody else said. And I posted this actually in the community section, which comes out on YouTube, which is pretty cool. And I said, hey, is this good for mass adoption or just more mass surveillance? What do you think? And I thought I was going to get an overwhelming avalanche of people saying, this is ridiculous. I can't believe they're doing this to us, and they're stealing our data. But that wasn't it. It was like half and half. Yeah, so Bike Bowling says, isn't this just blockchain data? The only reason Coinbase is doing it is because the government can't figure out how to analyze public blockchains on their own. And that's true, because that's what they're also doing with the IRS. IRS sent an open letter to all the different tax security software and said, hey, we need help with figuring all this stuff out. And some responded, some didn't. WebNet Marketing says, deep down, I think this will help us all. Keep your enemies close. I have to agree with that one. Joe says, glad I stopped using him. Blue Collar is the other side. He goes, hey, mainstream company in crypto is basically the biggest enemy of crypto's founding philosophy. And then, which is kind of like the same sentiment for a little bit. And then, oh yes, is almost every exchange does it. And I got to agree, that's probably the truth. They probably all are cooperating in some way, shape, or form. But I don't know if it's to this level. I just don't know. And then a lot of people say that they have switched and whatever else. So when I look at all the different factors together, and I read what you guys say, I read what everybody says, and I take a look at it, I go, in all honesty, we're being tracked. If you've ever watched that movie Snowden, I mean, we're being tracked all over the place because of different laws that were enacted after 9/11, and it's just the truth. So that is just the reality of the situation that we have right now. And that's one of the things about Bitcoin. It's an open source. It is decentralized, and you can see a lot of different data that it's out there. So I look at it and I go, okay, if I have to make a choice between mass adoption and I want to be totally private, I'm going to go with mass adoption. Am I going to say, well, this is the greatest thing of all time? No. And I'm going to tell you why. Because you can make a choice. You can totally make a choice right now. If you want to use Coinbase, you can use Coinbase. It's super simple to use, and especially if you're new to this cryptocurrency digital assets, you should probably use Coinbase. It's super simple. Coinbase Pro is a little bit more complex, not super complex, but I mean the fees are at least lower. So if you want to go that route, sure. However, I've always thought to myself that if I want to go and use a product, I'm voting with my pocketbook. So for years I've only used Coinbase, and then once I started to do this channel, I realized, wow, there's a lot more options out there, a lot better options out there, especially with what everybody has told me in the comments section. And I have to say that these days I don't use Coinbase. I still have an active account there, but I will only use it for an off ramp during my exit strategy. So I will say this: by Coinbase, partnering up with the government and these agencies, it's going to lend itself to more credibility, and it's going to lead to more mass adoption. And also, it talks about here that Coinbase is also rumored to be considering going public with an IPO, which, that's the biggest comment. Of course they're going to do it. And once they go public, it's going to help people realize, like, whoa, what? There's an exchange for what? And it does Bitcoin? I remember Bitcoin. I heard about that, years ago. And then it's at what now? And then we can buy that, and then that's how much that Coinbase company makes. That's amazing. Maybe I should look into this cryptocurrency. And before you know it, people are going to Coinbase and they're signing up for it, and they're paying those ridiculous fees, and they're just buying stuff up like crazy, and that's fine, because that's kind of like the painful process when you first get your feet wet. You got to be baptized by fire. Maybe that's just the fire of Coinbase. It's just, paying all those fees and then going through all those outages that they do, even though they're an $8 billion company, which I never understood myself. So as time goes on, maybe they'll realize, hey, they FOMO in, and then maybe they find, I don't know, this channel or a couple different channels that are great, and they figure out, hey, I can, get this someplace else for a cheaper cost, and it's better and it's more secure and blah, blah, blah. So I think, hey, great. If Coinbase wants to do this, they want to do an IPO, and it brings everybody in, I am totally I'm good with that. But for me right here, I'm not going to use Coinbase anymore, only for an off-ramp. If you want to take a look at what I have used or am using, in the description of every one of my videos, there's going to be a link. It's going to look like this. And when you click on that link, it's got all the different ones that I have used or I'm using right now as far as exchanges and wallets, and it breaks them down to, everything you want to know as far as like the fees, selling fees, conversions from, if you go on Bitcoin to Ethereum or Bitcoin to Tomato Coin or whatever, staking fees, funding accounts, all that stuff, withdrawal fees, and then extras, which I will say this, Coinbase and Coinbase Pro, I will only use them for an off-ramp. Gemini I've been using pretty heavily. Now I'm not using them. I'm actually using, my favorite 1-2 punch now is Voyager Wallet to buy crypto, because it is commission free. I mean, they do make a little bit of money on the spread. I don't care. Good for them. And then I'm also using the Celsius, which is like a, CFI, they call it CFI, DeFi wallet, where whatever you store in there, it doesn't matter what it is, essentially, is that you store it on their wallet and they pay you pretty good APR. That's what I've been using right now. And even actually just today, let me scroll down here, under Celsius and Voyager, if you scroll all the way down, here's the actual accrued interest on a balance. So for Celsius, I've got everything listed from Bitcoin all the way to Tether Gold. And you can see right here on the Celsius wallet, the interest rates, which, I mean, that's pretty good. And you don't have to have a minimum. There's no holding times. There's whatever's on there. It's fantastic. And then Voyager also does interest on the amount that you hold, but you have to have a minimum. And the interest rate is lower in most cases. I should think in every case, as opposed to Celsius. So that's my favorite 1-2 punch right now. But you can use whatever you want to. The only problem with Voyager is it's only available in the U.S. right now. In 49 states. If you're in New York, sorry, you got sucker punched again because New York has that stupid bit license and they're still applying for it. Celsius, I believe, has more range and areas, but the problem with Celsius is that to buy crypto on their wallet, it's like 0% for them, but then they have a partner which charges like 3.5%. So if you want to do that, it's up to you. But then I've also got Uphold and Abra and everything else. And you will notice here that there are affiliate links. You don't have to use my affiliate links. You can go right to them. That's fine. But if you use my affiliate links, you get $10 usually in Bitcoin, actually $25 for Celsius and Voyager. So if you want to use that, go right ahead. And that's it. So let's go on to our last story. So last up, Charles Hoskinson's Cardano giveaway is a big fat scam. Look at this young kid. Who's this guy? Charles. All right, so IOHK CEO Charles Hoskinson has raised the alarm about yet another giveaway scam that is making rounds on YouTube. And it says, it's come to my attention that a scam has been floating around using my conference keynote to promote a giveaway. This is a scam. Please report it to YouTube. We will take legal action if we can against those responsible. And you know who's responsible for this? YouTube. Anyhow, scammers are running a now removed YouTube live stream to trick viewers into sending them Cardano. Yeah, it's the same thing. I mean, we've seen these time and time again. Everybody here on my channel has seen it, and it's an annoyance. It's a problem. Like, I've gotten emails from like this guy named Shay So Heavy. This is what comes up before a video or an in-stream ad during a cryptocurrency YouTube different video. So same thing. Like, this is just getting popped up, and that's a problem. But then there's also right here, like, see where it says skip ads? So this isn't in the feed. This is an actual ad. So like, I do ads for my businesses. I use Facebook and YouTube and Twitter. No, not so much Twitter, Instagram. And I can just tell you that it's a process to go through it. I mean, you have to get approved for ads. Even like my YouTube channel, when I first started it, I tried to run ads, run my YouTube videos, and they wouldn't let me because there was like some kind of problem with cryptocurrency. So I don't know how the heck this is happening. It boggles my mind. So these scammers are paying YouTube. YouTube is taking the money, and that's that. There's also ones like this. This is from another ad, Airdrop Vitalik. Another one here. Same deal, skip ads. So this isn't like a one-off. This is like a more of a big type of thing, and it's huge. And it's like every day I get 3-4 emails about, hey, this is going on. Hey, this is going on during your video, or hey, this is going on before your video. Are you connected with it? I'm like, hey, I don't have any connection to this. YouTube does their thing. They put it before. I have nothing to do with it. Anyhow. The concerning part here is that people say, well, who would fall for that? Well, who would fall for that? Lots of people. So according to cybersecurity firm Adaptive, they manage, like these fraudsters, these scammers, managed to rake in more than $2 million by promoting numerous vanity addresses with the help of hijacked YouTube accounts. And I got to tell you, I've done polls myself, and I had over 800 people respond. And out of those 800 people that said, I asked, did you get scammed ever in the last 5 years? 40% said yes. 40%. So that means that those people that have gone onto these videos, who have worked very hard for their money, done it honestly and legally, they go and they buy cryptocurrency. They're probably new to a little bit, and like they hear this little thing like, oh, I get in 0.2 if I give you 0.1, that's fantastic. This is great cryptocurrency, and they lose it all because they're just It's just a pain. It's just awful to see, and that's why we do scam of the day. Anyhow, a similar sham that involved Microsoft co-founder Bill Gates also pocketed a cool 100,000. So if you think this is like it's a funny thing, like no one would fall for it, people fall for it all the time. People fall for it all the time. They're not as savvy as you might be. So that's why we have to protect the people that are in here, because guess what? I think this year and next year is going to be huge, and we can't have people getting screwed out of their money because one person tells 10, 10 tells 1,000. So, Charles talks about like, hey, we're gonna go against these scammers. Well, that's great. If you want to do that, Charles, go right ahead. That's one person, and you can go over 10 of them. It doesn't, and you can reach out, and I don't know what country they're in, but good luck. But really, what it comes down to is that if you want to go for the Hydra, you can't go for the heads of the Hydra. You have to go for the body, and the body, unfortunately, is YouTube. And that's why Brad Garlinghouse of Ripple, the CEO, said, hey, you got to stop screwing around. And they sued YouTube. They said, you cannot keep using my likeness or having these scammers use my likeness because they're so obvious. That's your job, is to protect your community. You're doing a poor job. And people are getting screwed out of millions and millions of dollars. So, Charles, if you're watching, which who knows, you might be, the open letter is this. You can't go for one-on-one. Let us do that. What I need you to do is I need you to go after the body. And that only happens if you go after the big kahuna, which is YouTube, and say, hey, if you don't stop doing this, we're going to go legally against you, and just like Ripple. And I'm just the start. Then you're going to feel more of a tsunami when different businesses and organizations, because what's going to happen with, like, I don't know, Bill Gates gets involved and go, hey, you screwing people out of money? Well, I can't have that. Elon Musk gets involved. Hey, I can't have that. CZ Binance gets involved. And it just becomes this huge lawsuit. Do you think they want that? Are you out of your mind? But it just takes a couple of people to get involved. Ripple's the first. Charles, IOHK, Cardano, hope you're the second. All right, so that's it for today's video. I want to say thanks for sticking with me. If you got time, I'd really appreciate it if you just stick with me to scam of the day, because that helps out a lot. So, scam of the day, if you don't know, in the description of every one of my videos, there's going to be a link that looks like this. And what we try to do is get as many removed as we can. We started this in January. Been pretty successful. I get a lot of different ones removed. There's a stubborn one that keeps coming around. And I got to tell you this. When I find these scams, I mean, people send them to me, which is great, but they've been coming up in my feed. And what I've been doing lately is I've just been sharing the videos in the community. And when I do that, I just say, hey, this is a scam, help me download it. Within like an hour, everybody attacks it and it gets taken down. So I want to say I appreciate that. So that happened 16 hours ago. And then there was a couple days ago when it was like I had 1, 2, what's the other one? 3, 4. I had 4 in like one day. So that really helped out when you and everybody else actually, reports these videos. So I will make mention of this. See how it says this video isn't publicly available? What they're doing is YouTube isn't fast enough to shut down the whole account. What they're doing is they're transferring it from public to private. And that way that YouTube can't see, I guess they can't see the video. I think they have the power to do that, but I'm just guessing. So these scammers are, at least they're shut down, at least, so they could turn this video back on. I'm not sure if they removed it or not, but at least it's not around. So that's a good thing, right? So moving forward, I mean, we can do scam of the day, but if I ever see them in my feed, I'm just going to post in the community. You guys can do your job if you have time. I really appreciate it, just to downvote and report it as a scam. So how do we do that? Well, if we're looking at the scam of the day, this is the one that keeps around, this Twitter stupid interview thing. So if I'm going to click on that, you'll notice that there's only 370 views, but the ones that I actually reported, they had like 17,000 views, something crazy like that. So when we take a look at this, we have to say to ourselves, first we have to think to ourselves, okay, well, we can't trust Rob from Digital Asset News because he might just be a liar and a cheat, and maybe he just is a hater of tweeting Jack, whoever that is. So maybe he wants to get rid of it. So we have to do our own diligence, right? So we have to take a look at this. First, what we do is we look in the actual comments, and this is a scam, it's a scam. A lot of people think it's a scam. All right, well, maybe they're just crazy. Who knows? So what we're also looking for is this an asymmetrical giveaway? Meaning, if I am actually going to have to give Bitcoin to somebody, I don't know why I would do that, but what am I getting back? Well, if you see here, it says, please send Bitcoin to Bitcoin address below. Any money sent will be doubled. So if you send one Bitcoin, you're going to get 2. If you send 0.1, you're going to get 0.2, right? If you think that is awesome, it's not, because it doesn't exist. So you're not special. No one likes you that much. I don't even think your mom would send you 2 Bitcoin for 1 Bitcoin. So get that through your head, and your life will be a lot easier. So if we realize that, then we say, okay, this is definitely a scam. No one's sending me free money, and that's it. So what do? Well, I downvote it. I click on there, and then there's these 3 dots. Always 3 dots. Click on those 3 dots. I'm going to report this, and I'm going to say, okay, what is this? This is a captions issue, spam or misleading? Yes, spam or misleading. I'm going to choose 1, scams and fraud. I'm going to click next. I'm going to say, hey, this is a scam. And then you can put whatever you want to. I will just say this, try to be respectful. Don't use curse words, because YouTube, I'm pretty sure they're like, this is just some crazy person. So just say, hey, it's a scam, and tell them why, and that's it. So that's the big deal. If you could do that, I really appreciate it. So lastly, I will say this, thanks to everybody who has been my supporters as far as joining. You don't get anything special, you just get me saying, hey, thanks. So level 1, thanks. Level 2, we're just going to do random shout outs. All Rights Off, Wen Mullet, Grant Sharman. Going forward, I got Baking Benjamins and Troc LLC, thank you. And last page, no, one page back. Matt Slack, Andrew Herrera, Kel's Show, EOS UK, AE, and Hero Soap Company, and Terry Prosperi, thank you for alerting me to this scam, which is someone sending out an email that says dandigitalassetnew@gmail. That's not my email. It's dandigitalassetnews@gmail.com. So if you get anything from dandigitalassetnew, just tell him he's a scammer and a piece of trash. And that's it. So just so you know, level 2, I used to charge more for that, and I would give individual shout outs. But a couple of days ago, I deprecated that and just thought to myself, people should probably just invest in more cryptocurrency. They don't need to pay me nothing. So just do that. I think everybody's happy. And then we can spend more time on things we need to spend on, like scams and reviewing different exchanges and things that actually help you people. And that's it. So thanks so much for sticking around. Appreciate it. See ya on the next one.